I don't want the corner office. I don't want the 4,000 square foot home in the HOA. Like, I don't want, like, it's icky to me. But it's hard to say that out loud because I'm supposed to want that.
And you don't want to be seen as criticizing those who do want those things.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Or you offend people
Because you're rejecting.
because I know what I want.
Yeah, and you're rejecting what they have.
It's even less rejection.
You think?
And I think it's more envy. I think there are a ton of people that are living lives because, right, we're told, right, this is just the societal structure. You go to school, you get the degree, you get married, you buy the house, you have the kids, you retire when you're 65. And so, like, that's the dream you're sold, and that's the American dream. And it's a weird thing, right? It's not, to me, it's not a midlife crisis that happens. It's a midlife realization.
Yeah,
like
I
have realized, I've realized that I don't want any of this. Yeah. But how do you get out of it?
Right.
Right? Because now you're seen as a failure if you take a step back and get a smaller house. Like, why is that failing?
Right.
Like, yeah, you're changing careers. It doesn't mean that you're having a mental break and there's something wrong with you. That brought you joy. It doesn't bring you any joy. Go do something else. Mm-hmm. But people are so paralyzed in, well, this is what people expect of me. Why do you care?
Yeah. It sort of touches back on what you said earlier in the conversation where you talked about people get tied up in their identity being the same as their value.
And
right?
their role.
And their role. And I see this especially in some of the young people around me. And I almost see sort of this thought process of, I went to school for this thing.
Yep.
I don't have a job in this thing.
Yep.
I have failed. So everything's pointless. And like, you know what I mean? Like I'm off the track. There's no way back on the track, and I need to be on that track.
Sure.
And because I'm not on that track, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, I get it. I mean, I guess I don't get it because I've never really been on the track.
And my life is the proverbial, Robert Frost, like, I'm an art school dropout. Like, I had a whole different plan, and I ended up meandering off in the woods in these weird directions. And here I am with a podcast about boundaries and a marketing company. Like, what?
Yeah.
This was not on the radar.
I was an art major owning a gym, so.
Yeah, right? So, but, it's like, I guess what I try to tell, especially young people, is like, you don't have it figured out yet. Like, having a plan is like, it's like when I was doing paintings, I would kind of have a plan. I would have a sketch. I would have a color palette in mind, and then I would hope things would go wrong, because it's when the things would go wrong that the great surprises would happen, and I'd end up with a much better piece of art. So, I just feel like you can't be so rigid. You have to kind of go with the flow, but you do have to listen to your gut. There's a balance of going with the flow, setting boundaries. It said earlier, you said you listened to your gut with the woman you got involved with. Yeah. And I was thinking, hey, you didn't listen to your gut. Your gut was telling you maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, hindsight's 20/20, right? And like the relationship didn't work, so maybe it wasn't a good idea. But I think it also led me down a beautiful path to see the world in a different way.
Right.
And I think that every negative experience that I've been through now gives me a different skill set to then turn around to those still behind me.
Right.
And say, I see you.
Yeah. I
have felt what you are feeling, and I'm here.
Yeah, and here's my hand.
And come with me.
That's a hard no.